A path to nowhere. Those words coming from Russia's top diplomats slamming the efforts by Europe's leaders, saying the Kremlin has not heard, quote, any constructive ideas out of them on how to end the war in Ukraine. He said that any talks that do not involve Russia over security guarantees for Ukraine are a dead end. But Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky this morning is praising those efforts. He said in a statement that, quote, together with the United States, Europe, and all those who seek peace, we are working every day to guarantee security. We need strong security guarantees to ensure a truly reliable and lasting peace. Zelensky also said that Russia launched a new round of strikes overnight involving more than 60 drones and a ballistic missile. Fire erupted at a fuel facility in the major port city of Odessa. And despite all this continued aggression, the White House has said that plans are underway for a face-to-face meeting between Zelensky and Vladimir Putin. That's what the White House says. But the Kremlin really hasn't signed on to that, at least not publicly. Let's get to CNN's Betsy Klein at the White House this morning for the very latest. What are you hearing, Betsy?
Well, John, I think all of that language coming from the Kremlin makes clear that the progress and momentum and clear urgency that we had been seeing in the last few days has stalled. But the White House insists that there is progress being made toward a bilateral meeting between Presidents Zelensky and Putin. They say is going to be in the coming weeks. And the U.S. National Security Team is actually involved in those preparations. And to that end, 3 White House officials tell CNN that there are a number of sites being considered for that venue, including Budapest, for that meeting, including Budapest as well as Switzerland. Those same sources cautioned that this is all very much in flux and nothing has been decided at this time. But White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that Putin has indeed agreed and promised to do this meeting in the coming weeks. President Trump laying out why he wants those 2 leaders to meet on their own. Take a look.
I had a very successful meeting with President Putin. I had a very successful meeting with President Zelensky. And now I thought it would be better if they met without me, just to see. I want to see what goes on. You know, they had a hard relationship, very bad relationship. And now we'll see how they do. And if necessary, and it probably would be, but if necessary, I'll go and I'll probably be able to get it closed.
The Kremlin making clear that this meeting is not imminent. Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov saying that any potential meeting between these 2 leaders must be prepared, quote, with the utmost care. And the more time this takes, John, the better it is for Russia. It gives them the opportunity to shore up control of some of those occupied areas and continue to advance on the battlefield. And we are seeing that as Russia continues with intensive airstrikes on Ukraine. President Zelensky responding overnight. He said, quote, all of these are demonstrative strikes that only confirm the need to put pressure on Moscow, the need to impose new sanctions and tariffs until diplomacy is fully effective. He went on to say we need strong security guarantees to ensure a truly reliable and lasting peace. The question, of course, now is how long President Trump is willing to wait and what, if any, pressure he can put on Putin, John.
All right, Betsy Klein at the White House for us this morning. Betsy, thanks so much. With us now is Kira Rudik, a member of Ukraine's parliament. Thank you so much for being with us. Sergey Lavrov, Russia's foreign minister, is saying that he has not heard any constructive ideas coming from European leaders. These are the European leaders who were at the White House meeting with President Trump on Monday. How serious do you think Russia is now toward finding peace?
Hello, John, and thank you so much for having me. We never believed that Russia was serious about peace, and we always were saying that they are standing in a way of peace, because I want to remind everyone that Russia is indeed an aggressor, and they don't need all the negotiations and talks. They can just stop attacking us, and it will already be a ceasefire. They can stop their aggression. It will already be an end of the war. This is not happening, and we can see that the main goal of Russia right now is to drag on and win some time, to escape sanctions, and to continue pushing us at the battlefield. And I'm sorry to say it, but even after all those good meetings, Russia is achieving all of its goals. And it seems that the European leaders, United States and Ukraine, are not achieving theirs and ours. And we have said that Putin will try to fool President Trump. Unfortunately, we see that this is what is happening. We didn't hear confirmation from Kremlin for a meeting with President Zelensky. So we already see that they will be trying to drag it on. There is an unclear situation with the country that perhaps can host this meeting because Putin is an international criminal and there is a warrant on his arrest by the International Criminal Court. So are we going to see again the international justice systems caving to organize the meeting by Putin or President Zelensky, or what is going to happen? This is yet another slap at the international justice, and it's yet another show that the only strength that is working with Russia, only the world of power and not anything else.
You said that Vladimir Putin is trying to fool Donald Trump, and it's working. How? How do you think it has been working since Monday?
The goal of Russia is simple. President Trump did indeed promise a very strong set of sanctions if Russia wouldn't end the war. First it was in 50 days, then it was in 12 days, then it was after meeting with Putin, then it was maybe later. So every day that they are winning of not having the sanctions imposed on them, they are making billions and they want to continue doing that. So Putin said that he is ready to meet with Zelensky. Now we see that they will be dragging on this meeting, and they switched President Trump's strong position on immediate ceasefire that is really so necessary here on the ground. Because, John, we don't know if we are going to survive till the end of the war, even if it is somewhere in the close sight. And so every single day when the ceasefire is not happening, sanctions are not happening, Putin is winning.
Right now, the United States and European leaders are discussing, along with Ukraine, this idea of security guarantees. What would you need from Europe, from the United States, to feel secure after some kind of deal would be reached with Russia?
First and foremost, we need to be able to rely on ourselves. So alongside with any agreement that will be signed on paper, Ukraine needs to be strong and armed to be able to defend itself. It is critical, and it contains of ability to buy certain kinds of wide-range weapons, but also financing of purchasing of those weapons. Second point is something that we have been asking since the day one, is ability to protect our skies. We know that the United States is providing this protection to other countries. It may not be signed in a deal, but it is happening anyways. Third point, there was an offer of international troops on the ground. That was not necessarily what was requested by Ukraine at the very beginning. However, it is also possible because we need to monitor that Russia will be keeping their part of the bargain. But in any kind of the peace deal, Ukraine wants to rely on itself, because after all times that international law was broken, we need to make sure that the investments are not in some agreements with someone, but the investments in Ukraine as it is. So even if Russia dares to come back and attack us, we will be ready to fight back.
Kira Rudik, member of the Ukrainian Parliament, we do appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much.